And the other one was the famous pterodactyl porn. It's like 3 guys dressed up like pterodactyls. They're actually using their wings too, which is silly because they'd be flying away, Ryan. If they were using their wings, Ryan, they'd be flying away. And in the background, there's a little robot or puppet pterodactyl going.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Yes or no? Did you ever take banned substances to enhance your cycling performance?
Yes.
I had no prior knowledge of the planned assault on Nancy Kerrigan.
I am deeply sorry for my irresponsible and selfish behavior I engaged in.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Oops the Podcast. Giulio Gallerati, Ryan Lynch.
Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday. The plant boy behind me. We're feeling good. And dude, I would like to talk about some of these engagement emails that we got from people because they're just so funny and so rich. But before, I want to add one thing that I forgot to talk about last episode. On the way home from Las Vegas. Now, we had a big show. It was so great. 2,500 people, something crazy, like so sick, right? And we had a good crew with us. Like after that, obviously we're going to go out and do stuff. You know what I mean? And specifically those, not everybody stayed in Vegas, but everybody who did, we're going to do stuff. So we stayed up late. We have a flight the next morning. There was some drinking involved, of course. And I wake up in the morning and be like, damn, I can't believe I have to fly right now. That really sucks. Hopefully I'll be okay. I ended up being okay. But because I had changed my flight, I wanted to get back earlier because I had stuff to do, whatever. I changed my flight. There was no good seats available. So because I have status on Delta, I automatically get upgraded to Comfort Plus. But there were no Comfort Plus seats available. So I'm just in the back of the plane in the middle. Boo-hoo. But when you're hungover, it sucks. So I'm like, this is going to suck. Last second, I get upgraded to Comfort, but still middle seat. And I'm like, whatever. Great. I want to be a durable traveler, especially when you travel internationally. You don't have status. So like you're going to end up in a shitty seat somewhere because I don't want to pay for first class and whatever. So I'm sitting there in the middle. I'm just like taking deep breaths. I'm like, it's going to be okay. And this silver fox appears out of nowhere. And he says, sir? And I said, yeah. And he goes, how would you feel if I offered you the window seat? And I went, really? I went, are you serious? And he went, yes. And I saw that he was with his wife, who they must have been flanked aisle and window, and they wanted to sit next to each other. And I went, dude, thank you. I was like, you guys are my guardian angels. And they're like, oh, stop it. They went, oh, stop it. But then I just had fire ass window seat, and it was so nice.
Fire ass.
That's good karma there or something.
That is good karma. Yeah.
I'll take it.
You were willing to deal with that.
I hopefully it's not because that. I mean, boo-hoo, like I said, but
You're
it was
being
sick.
a civilian.
It was sick to get a good seat.
Good for you, dude.
Party time. Let's fucking go. Okay. Engagement emails. You guys really crushed it with these. There's some really unique ones that are really funny. I guess we'll just go down the list. So first one is inadvertently creative proposal. This is pretty good. So congrats, Giulio and Hilldog. Thank you. Absolutely love the proposal stories from both of your perspectives. As per last call on yesterday's ep, it's from a couple weeks ago, wanted to share an unintentionally creative proposal. During our trip to New Orleans last October, my fiance had fully intended on taking me on a romantic walk through Jackson Square for an intimate proposal. How nice. On the way to the park, not knowing his plan, I decided to sit us down for the dumbest tourist treat, a caricature drawing. The sky was blue, not a cloud in sight, and it was noon under the wrath of the Louisiana sun. She included a little sun emoji. This is a very nice email. This was a mistake, I thought, as the artist spent 15 minutes carefully drawing while we sat in silence, sweating our northern asses off. The guy says, so I've finished drawing your faces. What do y'all want to be doing in the picture? After a moment of humming and hawing over generic suggestions like drinking on bourbon or Mardi Gras, my fiance chimes in with, can I be proposing?
Oh.
Of course, I immediately got confused and started thinking, why would he be proposing in the drawing? We aren't even engaged yet. And then he just gets down on one knee while fingering the ring out of his wallet. No box, sleeve, nothing, just ring and wallet. Dude, fucking cowboy. My immediate words was, this is how you're doing it? And then there was lots of laughter and tears and yes, of course. And this really awesome commemorative drawing, which I spent some time finishing and colorizing on the PC, which we get to incorporate and save the dates. I actually hated the proposal at the time because I thought it was not romantic, but now I really appreciate the spontaneity he had in the moment and wouldn't change anything about what happened. It suits our our goofy personalities and will make for a cute story, bro. Look how nice these are. You see them?
Yeah.
Very, very sweet. That
Can I see it again?
Yeah.
Oh, they did a nice job with it. I thought they were gonna,
It's great.
I thought he was gonna overly embellish their like physical blemishes.
Bro, this guy's a legend.
Yeah.
He not only had the ring in his wallet, he was willing to change his plan. Like some of the greats change on the fly. Sometimes you just got to listen to the wind. You can't be too married to your plan if a better opportunity arises. This guy crushed it. That's a great proposal.
Yeah.
I think it seems like they don't care if we share it, so we should throw it in there.
Yeah.
In the app so people can see.
He called an audible.
What do you think?
I like that. My first thought, I thought the caricature artist was going to make something satirical and make them not look pretty.
Oh, interesting.
So I was just curious if that was going to be romantic.
Yeah, I
no,
guess
that's a nice proproposal.
It is nice,
and that's confident.
Yeah.
To call the audible,
dude.
Yeah.
Fire. Hell yeah. So yeah, it's funny. The guy, like, I never thought of that. I typically am like, oh, caricatures usually, while silly, aren't like insanely insulting. Like he's not going to give you like a hot dog nose, right? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I guess you're right. I guess there is like a satirical angle to them, and maybe some people aren't as nice with them as others.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's an account that has crossed my feed where somebody really makes you look terrible. And like if somebody has like a big, like a slightly larger nose, like he makes the largest nose.
Interesting.
To the point where it's so outlandish.
Oh, damn.
And
Savage.
and everyone is such a great sport and everyone laughs so hard. And I'm curious if there's any caricature artists that listen to the podcast, if somebody's ever had a bad reaction to one of your paintings.
Oh, yeah.
Or one of your drawings.
You can show us a bad one. Yeah, that is pretty
good.
So it's funny. Our pal PD was asking for us to share photos of us together because he's making some sort of thing for something. I don't know specifically. So we're all sending our photos, and Ricky sent a 10 photos or something, and one of them was just me with a dolphin.
A real dolphin?
Yes, it's like really silly. You know, you can go to with the dolphins. I know that's apparently like controversial. This is a while ago, but I'm just with the dolphin making a stupid face, wearing like a purple fucking life vest or whatever, looking insane. And he was like, dude, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to put that in there, but that is hilarious. And I was like, no, dude, that was so funny. Like, it didn't bother me at all. But I was thinking about it. And I guess some people aren't as good of sports about that kind of stuff than others, like looking stupid in a picture, but I was fine with it.
That's nice.
That was pretty funny. So that was a good one. We have a bunch of good ones, guys. So
cool.
We have 4. So I guess I think we should do them all. Is that crazy to do them all? We need to not let the engagement topic get carried on for too long. Because we've now moved on, by the way. We went and looked at a wedding venue.
Really?
We sure did.
Yeah. I saw a book on the table when I came here today that had wedding dresses.
That was a gift from our friend Allie Hall, who we love dearly. And dude, yeah, so we went to check out a wedding venue. It was great. But Hill Dog, she's so thorough, man. She really is good. She asked a ton of questions, and she's like, okay, this is all great. She's like, what would the contingency plan be if it rained for cocktail hour? Specific, right? And they're like, okay, good. You asked that. And they took us to the area where it would be. And it was just not a good area. We were doing it at we were looking at a public kind of place. It was Brooklyn Botanical Gardens was one of the places that we were looking at. And the area that they were showing us, and I wanted to share that so that you would have a better picture of what this looked like. It was very field trip.
Oh my God. I've been to the Brooklyn Botanical Gardens. I think I know exactly where you're talking about.
Yeah, where there's
the cafeteria.
No, so it's like where you can enter the desert room or
Yep. I know exactly what you're talking about. It is giving middle school field trip for sure.
It's like, okay, everybody, let's do roll call, counting all the people. Okay, we're all here. Everybody hold up your yellow flags.
There's bulletin boards in the entrance with flyers on them.
Yeah, exactly.
100%.
Dude. So I threw that line in there, which got a good chuckle. It made Hill Dog sad because it made her realize that this could theoretically be a deal breaker. So we're trying to work around it, but we're also trying to come up with creative formats, and it's been really fun.
That's
but anyway,
awesome.
I don't want to. Oh, and by the way, her mom came into town just for the day to check it out, which is pretty dope. Like she flew in, didn't have any bags, went and looked at the venue, went to dinner, and then flew home.
That's fucking cool.
And my dad says I told my dad that, and he says her first or last name, and then goes, is a effing baller.
Hell yeah.
I was like, dude, that's sick. My dad was so impressed by that. So anyway, it's cool. It's fun that they're all interacting. So
that's cool. Keep us posted with little sprinkles as you go along. 'Cause there's a lot to come. Yeah.
But all right, here we go. This one's called Engagement/Biggest Turkey. First off, congrats to both you and Hill Dog. Thank you. I was listening to today's episode where you read some engagement stories, and I thought to myself, I wish I had a crazy story. And then it hit me. My engagement to my now wife, 1.5 years strong, has potential of being in Turkey territory.
Turkey territory. Watch out.
My wife and I have hosted Thanksgiving at our house going on 5 years.
Sorry, I just think Turkey territory.
Yeah, Turkey territory is good, huh?
That's nice.
It's one of our favorite holidays, and we both have our families on each side in attendance. It's always a great party, and I thought it would be a great day to pop the question. My wife is a great cook and spends most of the morning in the kitchen getting everything ready. Side note, a friend of mine told me that he proposed at Thanksgiving, and it was actually really sweet. Everybody went around the table saying what they were most thankful for, and he went last and proposed. Mm-hmm. Really sweet, huh?
That is really sweet.
Really, really sweet. My wife's a great cook and spends most of the morning in the kitchen getting everything ready. I didn't want to just walk in the kitchen and present the ring. I was joking with friends and family about putting the ring on the wishbone of the turkey and asking her to make a wish, but quickly moved on as the wishbone isn't retrievable until after fully cooked and all the guests would be in our house. I didn't realize my mom had heard me and a few days later slipped me a Ziploc bag as I was leaving her house as if it were a drug deal. I get in the car and open the bag, and it's a fresh turkey wishbone. My mom cooked me a full bird a week before Thanksgiving just to give me a wishbone.
Wow.
Very sweet. Day of, I slide the ring on the wishbone, walk into the kitchen and say, hey, should we make a wish and pull the wishbone? My wife was shocked, and the day turned out perfect. Love the pot and the turkey talk. Never thought I'd be the turkey. Congratulations, dude. It's very sweet.
It's a well-written email, too. Thank you for that.
All right. Misleading.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that was good.
Misleading.
Congratulations. That's beautiful.
That's a nice one. Okay, these next two, these are the last two, but they're both really good. First of all, the first one is going to be kind of like an insane, shocking one. And the second one is this guy is the most thorough proposer in the history of proposals as far as making sure that nobody finds out. This guy, if this guy's a lawyer, I'd hire him in a heartbeat. Okay, but this first one is called Proposal Triggers Cardiac Arrest. Hi, G and Ryan. Love you guys. Big congrats to G and Hillary. So excited for you. Wanted to share sort of a noteworthy proposal story after listening to Thursday's Proposal Part 2 episode. My sister and her husband are now happily married with a baby on the way. But the husband had an interesting time with the proposal. I said it weirdly like that because she put the name in here and later said don't include the name. So we're just going to call him the husband. It was about 3 years ago this summer that the husband preparing to propose to my sister. They had been dating for several years, and he was well liked all around by my family, parents included. Nonetheless, he went the traditional route and had a conversation with both my parents before proposing to my sister. Specifically, he took my dad out for a drink after work one day during this summer. I had no idea at the time that he was having this conversation with my dad. He had already talked to my mom about the same thing, so only she knew what was going on. For some additional context, my family was going on our annual beach trip the day after this meeting. While no one knew it at the time, husband was planning on proposing during our trip in my sister's favorite place. That was the plan. Anyway, my dad gets home after this, quote, secret meeting with husband, and we're sitting down for dinner. But he really doesn't look well. He's incredibly pale, sweaty to the point of dripping in sweat, and just overall not okay. Before I could even ask if he was feeling okay, he collapsed on the ground and was unconscious. My mom called 911, and by the time an ambulance arrived, he was responsive, just very unwell and in distress. The medics even used the paddles on him to restart his heart, literally in our living room, and he gets rushed to the hospital. Long story short, it turned out that my dad had a heart defect that he was born with, but had never affected him up until that day. The doctor said that an incredibly stressful event can trigger something like this happening. So, by asking his permission to marry my sister, my brother-in-law sent my dad into full cardiac arrest. I feel like I have to note that my dad loves my brother-in-law. I think it was more the big life event for my older sister, his first daughter, and all those changes, etc. But you can imagine my brother-in-law's fear that night when my mom called and told him what happened, and his whole proposal plan was thrown to the wind. We went on the trip a few days late, and he didn't end up proposing until a few months later in a totally different place. He was still worried about the same thing happening again. My dad only had to have a small operation to fix his heart issue permanently, and he even told this story during his speech at the wedding, so everything worked out.
Oh, wow.
That's crazy, dude. That is crazy. And what a banger line to include in the wedding speech.
Oh, yeah. You probably killed that speech.
He almost killed me. I'm glad I'm here today. Da, da, da. You know what I mean? Very nice, dude.
That's lovely.
Very, very nice. So very good. And this last one. So, dude, it's funny. A couple of the things that kind of put Hill Dog onto me during the proposal process were things that I maybe could have avoided if I were as thorough as this guy. And he sort of writes the framework for how he avoided those same problems. And I found this email super impressive. So here we go. I was excited listening to the play-by-play of the engagement planning and, more significantly, keeping the surprise element intact. That is the best part other than her saying yes. Thus, I've got a little proposal story for you guys. I proposed to my wife in June 2021, and I remember thinking while planning, I should email this to the pod to get their advice so this doesn't turn into an oops. Hey, better late than never. Spring of 2021, we're looking for our first apartment to buy, and we found the place, made the offer, and accepted. I think this person lives in Chicago, by the way, because it's unusual for people that young to be buying apartments in New York. People in Chicago do it. The proposal idea came to me as we were leaving our final walkthrough with the realtors. The idea: I'm going to propose to her in the empty apartment after our closing and receiving the keys. I'd say to her, quote, hey, we just bought our first house. Let's go see it and take in the moment. The element of surprise was that the most important thing to me. There was no way she'd see it coming with all the complexity of this idea. I also had an advantage because she wanted to be proposed to on a trip of some kind. Luckily, we had a blank trip planned for July to take away suspicion. In trying to keep this email short, here are all the bulleted logistics I had to keep in mind to achieve the surprise, capture footage, and make it romantic. He's done a really good job of laying this out. Number 1, general planning discussions. We live together in a small apartment, so taking calls or texts with people helping me plan this was a no-go. I had to take frequent, quote, mental health walks around Chicago to plan the logistics. Bullet point 2, nails. Similar to Hill Dog, my wife is sharp and would pick up on everything. She's a forensic accountant. Jesus, what the fuck even is that? Had her friend who was already engaged to take her to test nail colors for her upcoming wedding. Totally plausible. Mm-hmm. Bullet point 3, dressing up. I had asked the attorneys we used to help close the house to email us both, requiring us to dress nicely when we went to the closing at the title company's office. That way she wasn't tipped off by me asking her to dress up.
Very
This is
smart.
good, right?
Yeah.
Bullet point number 4, access to the apartment. I kindly emailed the seller's realtor, the seller's attorney, and told them of the plan, and they kindly approved of me gaining access to the apartment earlier than the closing day and left us a bottle of champagne in the fridge. Bullet point number 5, walkthrough with photographer. Had to make an excuse for where I was during this time as we do share iPhone location for safety. Had to give a key to the photographer who'd be in the apartment as we walked in for the first time. Walked through the blocking with her. Asked for her to play some music as we opened the door. Sorry, GIULIO. She was indeed hiding in the closet. I forget where we're at. Is it bullet point 6? I've been numbering them. So
I think 6.
Bullet point 6. Getting from closing to apartment. The day of, after the closing, she just wanted to go back to the other apartment and nap since the closing took much longer than expected. This was the moment I worried she would be tipped off. I said, hey, it's our first house together. Let's just go see it, take in the moment, and then head home for a nap. Incredible. And finally, number 7, all dogs go to heaven. Romantic table set up in the empty apartment. I wanted to have a little high top table set with some champagne, roses, a candle, etc. I asked my wife's mom and sister to set up something while we were at the closing. They knocked it out of the park. Success, total surprise. I hope you enjoy the surprise in the video. Oh, we have a video. Sick. Wow, dude, thank you for including the video. This guy crushed it. I mean, there was a heart on the floor, some music, and he didn't pop right into it, dude. He sizzled.
Yeah.
He sizzled. He let it all in. She let her marinate. She was freaking out. He then took off her bag so she'd have the perfect posture for the photos, made them step into the heart together, and then banged it down on the knee, took out the ring. He said, this is a new chapter, whatever. They had a nice smooch. The photographer popped out. She almost blocked the videographer, who then slid out of the way and continued filming. Mm-hmm. Perfect execution all around. I think we all bow to this guy.
Yeah. He worked really hard.
He did a really great job.
Sounds a lot like a friend named Brad that we have. Yeah.
Good old Brad.
Sounds like a good hard worker.
Hard-working man. Hard-working man.
Congratulations. That was beautiful. All of those stories were fantastic.
Really, really nice.
I do want to go back real quick. How would you feel to the son-in-law that caused the heart attack?
I'd feel terrible.
How would you feel getting that phone call?
Dude, I mean, I think that whoever gave the phone call wasn't like,
look what you did.
Yeah,
look what you did.
There's no way. They're like, oh, he probably slowly put it together, and then later they confirmed that is what happened. But like,
yeah,
he's a nice guy for feeling bad. Like, it's not his fault, you know?
Yeah.
It was a nice thing that made everybody happy. It wasn't like, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's ultimately
that must be so tough. They said that he waited a couple months after to do it again.
I think so.
That must be so tough to be so ready. Like, imagine if you, like, I can't imagine, but you could, like, if you had to do a delay for whatever reason.
Oh man,
for a couple months.
It would suck.
Yeah.
And it's funny that he has to worry about like the news triggering the dad. So I guess maybe it was enough time for the dad to get surgery, because it sounds like he got a procedure. Pretty good stuff, man, all in all.
That's wild. Those are some great stories.
Yeah, really, really good.
Oops Fam has great stories.
Oops Fam has great stories, dude. It's funny the way that, like, as humans, we hope to win the lotto and, like, we really believe we can. But then we are comforted by, for example, like a plane crash. We're comforted by knowing of how unlikely that is. But the likelihood of the two things happening is probably similar. Maybe the winning the lottery is probably harder.
I can look up a couple.
Yeah, let's look up a couple of facts to Ryan, bring it back.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think it's funny too that people only play the lotto. The only time I hear about the lotto is when the jackpot is like some record-breaking jackpot, which then a lot of the time makes people play. But the thing that's ridiculous about that is even when it's at like a lower number, that's still life-changing money. Like if the first jackpot's 25 million or something, like you don't want 25 million, like you're not going to play because you're afraid you're going to win the 25 million. You know what I mean? Like you're never going to win. You might as well always play, right? If you're going to play. I mean, again, I think always playing doesn't even do shit for you. But I have heard that like some people who are like number scientists have been able to win multiple times.
Real is that confirmed?
Yeah. Some like somebody who's won in the past like was a number person and they've won multiple times, which is like kind of crazy.
You always hear about people that win the lottery having a large falling out with their friends and family. Yeah. That worries me. Not that I'd win the lottery, but like my first thought if I were to win is just, you know, let's say after taxes you get, you know, $40 million. You buy a house for a couple million and then I don't know, you invest a ton of it. I just would be so nervous about interacting with fringe friends that just start reaching out to you and might start trying to get some money from you.
Just because they know the specific number that you have.
Yeah, because it's public, right? Don't they make it public?
So yes, but I think some places make you come forward, right? I'm not totally, let's look at this. Let's look this up. I think that's more interesting than the statistics thing if we need to prioritize.
Yeah. Well, real quick, we can do...
one guy I remember showed up in a ski mask.
Really?
But I think they still announced the name, so I don't really know.
That's kind of silly.
Yeah, that's funny.
Things that are more rare than winning the lottery: getting struck by lightning.
Okay.
You have a 1 in 15.3 thousand chance of being struck.
So what's the chance of winning the lottery then? Winning the jackpot has to be worse odds than that.
Winning the Powerball jackpot, 1 in 292.2 million.
Okay, so you're more likely to get hit by lightning.
Much more likely,
yeah,
yes. Okay. Next one, getting a hole in one.
Okay.
Those are 12,000 to 1 odds. Finding a pearl in an oyster. That's 1 in 10,000. Finding a 4-leaf clover. Shaking the hand of the president.
What are
that
are there odds
nice.
For either of those? Are there odds for finding a 4-leaf clover?
1 in 5,000.
I think I've found one before.
Yeah. I've spent days in the summer as a little boy just like, I'm going to find a 4-leaf clover today and I'm going to make so much money. And then
you can sell
get
them?
bored after 10 minutes. I don't know. As a kid, no idea. But you'd think that you would because they're so rare.
What are the odds of shaking the president's hand? Shout out to Benny D. Who has shaken Bill
What do you
Clinton's
think
hand.
it is?
1 in 7,000? I don't know. But
1 in 5,000.
But it's stupid because you can mitigate that by like going where the president is.
Yeah, you just go to an event and you'll be able to weasel your way. The president shakes about 65,000 hands a year.
Jesus.
That's a lot of hands.
That's a lot of hands.
Yeah, I don't know. What are any do you like to do the Powerball?
No.
No.
But like it would be fun to win, and it is fun when I do play. I'm like, ooh, what if I win? And then not only do I not win, I don't think I've ever even gotten one number. I think one time I got the Powerball number, so only. It's just like so hard.
Have you seen the pranks where people give somebody a Powerball ticket and then they play the winning numbers from the day before, and they make sure to get them a ticket that matches the day before?
So mean.
And then in real time, I'll send it to you. In real time, they're basking. The people that are pranking. So the person's holding the ticket.
Cruel.
They reveal that they have the winning number, and then the prankster just lets the poor victim bask and marinate and sizzle in that for 10 minutes before saying, "Oh, that's yesterday's lotto number." That's fucked up.
That is cruel.
That's
dude.
fucked up.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Best prank I ever saw. I mean, there's a lot of. By the way, there's some like scary pranks that I think take place in Brazil or something. They don't happen here. I'm sure it would be like a liability here or something with all of our like, you can sue anybody at any time shit.
Yeah.
But bro, like there's these like scary prank shows, and I've seen some of them. Like one of them, you're like in an elevator, the lights start to flicker, and then the lights completely go out, and then like a demon girl comes out of a panel, and when the lights turn back on, she's like, like, you know how fucking demons always speak Latin?
Yeah.
And it's like the craziest thing ever. Like you could kill the person. Like cardiac arrest man would be dead. The father-in-law or whatever, the father. But so that kind of shit's really funny. If you ever get a chance to see any of those scary pranks, you should watch them. But a more traditional prank, this is a really fucking good one. It was like these college humor guys. I forget their names. It's fucked up. I can't remember. Anyway, this is such a good one. So
I remember those guys though. They were big.
Yeah.
Or at least college.
One of the
humor.
guys still writes for SNL, I think, and the other guy, I don't know what he does. But the prank was this. They were, the one guy was going to shoot the half-court shot. He had been arranged that he would shoot the half-court shot, $1 million shot. And his friend, before the game, went out to the crowd, and he's like, at halftime, my friend is going to blindfoldedly shoot the half-court shot. He's obviously going to miss, but I want you all to lose your shit as if he made it. And then they executed it perfectly, dude. He shot the shot blindfolded, and everyone loses their mind. And he goes, he starts running around the court with his hands up, dude. It's the funniest fucking thing ever. And then he sees his boy on the court, and he realizes he's been had. I don't even think he knew that his friend was going to be there, dude. It was so good.
I think I've seen that.
It's such a good one.
That's a good one, dude.
It's such a good one, dude. Oh my god, I know I used to do a prank show, and I always talk about this. One of the best ones, dude. I was playing this like con artist, basically. I'm not really a con artist, but you'll see why. So I go up to a woman at a table, and I start telling her how, a random person who's sitting there, and I start telling her how I'm like really distraught because I proposed and my girlfriend said no and like stormed out, and I don't want her to know what to do, and I'm so sad. And she's comforting me. And as the prank goes on, it starts to become clear that I'm not as like good of a dude as it seems. And I start trying to tell them that I'm upset because I was going to inherit a lot of money if I got married. Oh. So I was like, what if you and I get married? We can annul it immediately. We'll split the money. And I start trying to like con them, and to just see their reactions, dude, it's so fucking funny. There's a couple of good ones like that. There was that one. There was another one where I owned a store, and we hired a person to work in the store, and my girlfriend, my fiance, and my wife all come in the same day, and I have her cover for me.
Yeah.
So I have all those three at the same time. That was a really good one. And then another really good one, I worked at it. This one was stupid, but it was like really funny. I work in this restaurant, and the owner of the restaurant thinks that I'm Hispanic and I don't speak English. But in reality, I don't actually speak Spanish because I just don't want to have to talk to my boss because I hate him. So I pretend to speak Spanish. But he's speaking Spanish. She's speaking Spanish to me, and I'm making up Spanish because I don't actually speak Spanish. And he's like, "What did he just say?" And I'm like, "Pajita." I'm just like making shit up, and I don't know if that's like offensive now. And then she's saying stuff for me. He says working is really hard.
Dude, they don't have prank shows like that
I know,
anymore.
dude. It's a really heady prank show, and maybe that's why it like didn't do better, because like it was on MTV. Maybe it was like geared towards younger people or something, but it was like really sophisticated pranks, dude.
I'm sorry, what does heady mean?
Like sophisticated.
Okay.
Intellectual. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Dude, that's great. There's nothing like that today. You see like the TikTok pranks.
Yeah, and the reason why it's like the people who have the best pranks are like people who aren't following the rules, who they're like trying to get punched in the face, or like the Nelk boys, or like
Yeah.
people whose channels are all now demonetized, but like I'm afraid to even say their name in fucking in the thing. I don't want us to get in trouble or get caught up in the algorithm somehow. Love a good prank.
Yeah, dude, those are good. Do you watch Jeopardy?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is kind of like the lottery one where my buddy and I, a couple years ago, my roommate, we watched Jeopardy together at 7:00. And this was during COVID, so we spent all day at home. And we get really competitive with it. And like we keep track loosely of like, oh, I got 7, you got 6, I got you today.
I play this with Danny. Yeah.
And so and we would watch it on Hulu, so we didn't watch it live. And I played an episode that I watched previously during the day, and I took note of all the answers. And I so casually blew his mind when he thought we were sitting down to watch it live for the first time together.
That's awesome.
He got so mad, and I didn't tell him for like a year.
Dude, that's
so I let him
awesome.
sit in it because
You
I forgot
savage.
about it.
That's
he was
good.
so upset. Sorry, Chris.
That's very similar to the one that I did to Hill Dog, which I shared about how I was doing the live broadcast.
Yeah,
And that was,
yeah.
Dude, that's very
That's what
funny.
made me think of it.
Good one, man.
The Final Jeopardy, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Final Jeopardy. It was a Great Gatsby reference, but it was a character from The Great Gatsby, and I just like so casually mentioned. I was like, oh, that's so and so. I don't know. Who
Lord
it is, but-
Farquaad.
Yeah.
Did you get any?
Farquaad.
Did you get any wrong on purpose to like throw him off?
Yeah, there was one category that I played dumb to. Like I was like, oh, I don't
But
know
otherwise, you
this.
got every other answer.
Whenever I spoke.
But sometimes would you just like not
Yeah, sometimes I wouldn't.
to keep it seeming real?
Yeah. And honestly, it was a lot to memorize too. So
Yeah.
like just like I was, little hints in my head, but he was upset and overwhelmed
Dude, that's
and
really funny.
confused and cuz dude, I'm embarrassed to say I love watching Jeopardy and I scream out an answer for every single question.
Oh yeah, you might as well.
And they're all most of them are just
Stupid.
like they're looking for a noun, I might scream out an adjective. Like
Yeah.
I have fun watching it though.
We should play sometime as like a drinking game, you and me.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, I love Jeopardy. That's
Even
a fun
with
one.
like get the ladies in the mix,
100%.
have a little fun. That would be great.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun. So,
Thanks again for the plant, dude, and for the delicious baked goods. You guys have been treating us really good.
yeah, of course.
Ryan and I have become good
course.
pals through this whole process. Not that we weren't before, but it's been fun, dude.
It has been fun.
Dude, I remember I did a prank to my friend Teddy, Ted Jones. Some of you may know him, who I know's podcast you did. When we were going to that wedding in Wyoming, he was going to that one, and I've known him way before. Like I used to be a comedian, and he would like hang around, and now he's decided to like take the leap himself, and he's been doing it now for 4 or 5 years. So he's approaching sort of a tenured position as a comic. So anyway, we were going to Wyoming, and for some reason, I just thought it would be funny to try to convince him that Tim Tebow would be at the wedding.
What year was this?
This just happened.
Oh, that's such
This
a
is the wedding we
perfect-
just went
that's
to.
such a perfect person. That
Well, the
name.
crazy wedding that I was just at that I told you guys about, I'm wearing the hat in Brush Creek,
Tim
Wyoming.
Tebow.
So-
it's so realistic because he could be at any event.
So, dude, I started trying to like get people on my side to confirm it who like weren't obvious. Because my friend Phil, I can obviously. I told the bride and groom, I was like, the story is Ben and him overlapped at some point in high school. Ben bounced around a lot in high school, so it kind of checks out. We have to lie about Ben's age to make this make sense, but whatever. And then I told Hillary, I told Philip, but like these are all people who I could clearly manipulate. So then I text my friend Petra, and I'm like, who should we ask? We start coming up with some ideas. She starts sprinkling it. Then I see this guy Anthony on the plane, who's actually friends with Francis too, and I'm like, dude. I'm like, Teddy thinks Tim Tebow is going to be at the wedding. He's like, I got you. There's this guy, Jake, near him that I would have never talked to. He goes, I'm going to have Jake say, ooh, I hear this football player's coming. You know what I mean? So that like,
Yeah.
he didn't know specifically enough so that it would still work. So we kept it going until the actual wedding, but it went from Teddy not believing it at all to almost being at like 50% believing it. And we refused to give it up.
Wow.
And then we eventually told him we thought it was pretty funny. I love a random pointless prank, dude. It's what I do.
Oh, that's perfect, dude.
It's so fun. It keeps things spicy and it keeps you young, baby.
What a perfect person to pick.
Yeah.
He is like a third tier celebrity
Yeah.
at this point. That's great.
Well, dude, the Living Old show, the Blue Zones show, which I know I keep talking about, but one of the things that they talk about in it, which is very interesting, the Japanese, or maybe it's specific to Okinawa, they have this thing called ikigai.
Ikigai?
Ikigai, which kind of sounds like leaky guy, which kind of seems like ooh, I love leaky guys. But ikigai, and basically it means like your purpose in life.
Okay.
And if you have that, it keeps you young, which I think is an interesting thing. And I was thinking, well, I have lots of purpose in life. First of all, I like pranking the shit out of people, but that's not good enough. But like me wanting to visit every national park unit and every country is a great purpose. And I had this like fear that I need to try to do it immediately. But now I'm thinking if I space it out longer, maybe I'll live longer. That could be good. I'm so curious about trying to live long.
Yeah.
And it would be nice to do it in a non-genetically manipulated way. And I sort of hope that we're not able to make people live forever. I know they're saying all this stuff, science, this and that, because it would suck for like that to begin and only like the richest people on earth can afford it or some shit. Or it's like really controversial. I don't know.
Yeah, when we're old and the new kids are going to be able to live to 120, 150. Yeah. I saw a couple of posts about that recently. I feel bad about that. I'm going to feel really bad about that in like 2057. Do you think about the year that you might die?
Potentially perish? No, because we could die right now, right?
I know that. But in an ideal world, if we just pass away of old age, or
I try not to think about it because it's wishful thinking to a degree. You know, we got to survive now.
I regret even saying that.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I do. I regret that you brought it up.
I'll check out.
You think about it?
No, not a lot. But I have seen that. Well, I've seen the post recently where some technology has come out where scientists are predicting that people are going to live past 100 years old, and that's going to be a completely normal thing. That's going to be.
That's not even that crazy, you know.
No, I know, but I'm saying like
100
and active. Not like, when you see the 100 to 110 year olds, I got to check out this episode. I will watch the cowboy episode.
You should watch. It's a great show.
I'll watch it before
great show.
We record next. But like when you see like the oldest person in the world, 118.
Yeah. And they're
like,
just like they're a human piece of toast.
Just like look like Mitch McConnell.
Yeah.
And, but they're saying that people at that age in 50, 60 years from now are going to be, you know, playing cricket ball.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Cricket ball. Pickleball?
What's
cricket?
Pickleball.
Cricket ball. We should make cricket ball. that was a classic Ryan.
A fumble.
But it's okay, Ryan. So you're sweet and we love you.
Thank you. Real quick Netflix recommendation. Have you watched Suits?
Like a little.
Okay.
My boy used to watch it all the time, so I'd catch it in the background.
Okay, so I can sense that you're like, this show sucks.
I have no opinion. I knew it was like supremely popular.
Yeah.
Also, bro, no offense, this is not a hot take. This is a good show.
Well, I just want to let people know in case they've been living under a rock for the last few months, but it came to Netflix.
You're also younger, so maybe it was like before your time or something.
Yeah, I never really watched it, but I just had to point out. Everyone told us to watch it. We checked it out. The first episode was so corny. It was so hard to get through it. But now we're probably on the 7th episode, and the dialogue is so unrealistic yet captivating.
But it sounds like you really like it, and it's a really popular show, dude.
We do like it, and there's like over 120 episodes, so you know we're gonna be watching it. We're probably gonna be cruising through that until the spring.
It was on USA originally, right?
I think so.
USA.
I think so.
Remember USA?
Yeah.
USA was the channel that had like almost nudity that for like cable. I remember when we were kids, we used to watch, what the fuck were the shows? There was some show, Barbed Wire would like be on, Pamela Anderson. And there was this other show. Let me see, bro. I need to look this up.
Yeah.
La Femme Nikita, dude.
La Femme Nikita?
La Femme Nikita. We would watch this. We would watch La Femme Nikita at sleepovers. I remember specifically Ryan's house in Middletown, the same place where I cried after watching an episode of X-Files that involved kidnapping. And I went up into his stepdad's room and cried. He came down and brought me a Coke and sat there as I fell asleep, which was very kind of him. Shout out to Bill.
Wow.
Great stepdad.
Wow, this looks like a sexy show.
La Femme Nikita, dude.
But I just wanted to mention about Suits. If you don't plan on watching it, I can basically describe to you how every conversation goes. So the lawyer goes up to anybody and asks them a question, and they start every single response with like a monologue. So the lawyer will go up to them and be like, so like, why did you steal all of the clothes from the store? And then the person that's being accused will sit there, they'll pause, and they always say, my father was an XYZ, and then say their occupation. And then they have this huge monologue and this nice little metaphor that ties it all together. My father worked in the parking industry. So
Dude,
it's
that's
we're
great,
enjoying
man.
it. So if you're looking for a nice background show, check it out.
Oh yeah, dude, that reminds me of something. So with PD, we sometimes will watch. He's seen a lot of stuff. He's like seen a lot of movies, a lot of TV shows. So every once in a while, we'll throw something on, and we're like, it seems random, but like he usually has really good taste in curating the selection. One of the shows that we'll watch, and that I watched with another friend of mine, Eddie, X-Files, still is so good. The episodes that like aren't quite scary, they kind of still are, and then there's a lot of still very scary episodes. Show fully holds up for like a sci-fi show from that time, which is not common. That and there's another really scary sci-fi movie. Oh, what was it called? It's with the guy from Jurassic Park.
Chris Pratt?
No, the old
OG
Jurassic
one?
Park. Pause.
That aged me.
Event. I think it's called Event Horizon. That is a super fucking scary
movie?
Sci-fi movie. Yeah, Sam Neill. That's it. Event
Sam
Horizon.
Neill.
Scary ass 90s horror movie. That's sci-fi also. Anyway,
Wow.
Without a Trace. Did you ever watch Without a Trace?
I haven't, but let me look it up.
So this is a show that's like, it's sort of like a Law and Order where every episode there's a crime that is presented and then solved at the end of the episode, which is a really good, fun format. It's starring Anthony LaPaglia, who is a famous TV actor. Not to brag, I did a scene with him once in a pilot where I was playing a famous story I told on the pod is where I pretended to be Italian to get a role, and then I got the role. Pilot never aired, but I got to do a full scene with Anthony LaPaglia, which was like my claim to fame at the time.
Hell yeah.
Anyway, so the show Without a Trace, this guy's Australian. And like on the early episodes, like he just he's supposed to be this like New York cop, and he just fully has an Australian accent still. And maybe it was just like a different time, like you weren't expected, and he tries to cover it up, but it's just, you hear it the whole time. So we'll be watching and just dying because we'll be like, out of nowhere, they'll be like, oh, did you check under the counter? Dude, it's like full on, like, it appears the perpetrator escaped. Dude, it's crazy. Like, we just sit and watch it and just die. It's the funniest fucking thing I ever did.
Oh, that's great.
So, but it's a great show, and he's a great actor. You know what I mean? Just, I guess, like, early on, no one cared if you were good at the accent.
Yeah.
Now you can't even tell. People are amazing at it. But I think he walked so that, you know, the others could run or whatever.
Yeah. What's the X-Files about? Is it sci-fi and like detectives?
It's the same type of formula where it's like new things happen and then they solve them, though there are some ongoing episodes. It's super creepy, and it's a combination of like horror, sci-fi, crimes, like really like dark, creepy overtone. And David Duchovny and Gillian Anderson are just awesome actors. So it's like just really good.
Cool.
It's really, really, really good show.
Cool. I should check that out. I'd like
it's
that a
worth
lot.
it. Oh, dude, it rules.
Do they play detectives?
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
Of like this kind of shit, and like it's sort of like the more modern version at the time of like an Alfred Hitchcock Presents or a Twilight Zone.
Okay. Cool.
Alfred Hitchcock Presents is a great show too.
Yeah.
It still holds up.
I've watched every original Twilight Zone episode.
Oh, really?
I love it. Absolutely.
All right.
Every
So
single one.
Do you ever watch Hitchcock movies?
I've seen Birds, right?
Yeah, that's like
The Birds.
Honestly, in my opinion, that's the worst one. Vertigo might be my favorite movie of all time. It's a really good one. Rebecca, it's an old one, very, very good. North by Northwest, Rope, and then I should probably just throw one more in there to round it out. Rear Window to me doesn't like fully hold up. That might be a bit of a hot take, but I guess I'll throw Psycho in there to round it off in case like that is not as an obvious of a one. But all like phenomenal movies that all hold up. I know there's some like controversy about whether or not Hitchcock was a good dude, but those movies are all really good.
Cool.
Definitely, I recommend checking them out. Dude, so we were talking about shaking the president's hand before.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about this. This would be funny. And I actually briefly told this on stage the other day, and somebody went, duh, because it seemed obvious, but I need to clarify what I meant. So I think it would be funny, like backtracking, first of all people who were formerly presidents seem extremely successful in their retirement. Whatever it is they do. A lot of the time it's because they were already successful coming into being president. When you're president, you get to have a book deal. There's a lot of easy money making opportunities, it seems. Plus, the Trumps of the world were already big businessmen before. So there's all that kind of shit. It's easy to parlay a presidency into success. So I said on stage, I was like, I think it would be funny if a president were just a fucking loser. after the presidency. Now, somebody in the crowd who's clearly a very liberal leaning person went, duh, and she was referring to Trump. But I don't mean it in that way. If you feel that Trump is a loser, that is not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is a president who just seems like really down and out after the presidency. You know, a president whose boy needs to hook him up with a gig, and it's like shitty.
Like an empty nesting parent.
Right. Like well, like not even, dude. Like, can you imagine the country like allowing the president to like? If it were to come to this, would they just be like, dude, here? Like, would the country, for the sake of our keeping good face, would they just give him some money? Because like, you don't want the president working at Pep Boys. The Secret Service are out back. The president's working. Not that working at Pep Boys means being a loser, but you know what I mean. Like, you can't have the president having like an average everyday guy job.
Yeah.
You know,
civilian life.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem like that would ever be possible.
Would the country allow it? Would they allow the president to work at a movie theater, ripping tickets, saying Theater 5?
The president has so many people around him. I don't even think they would let that become an option.
Like, the president worked at the supermarket, and at first he had a big job. He was the regional manager of many branches of Stop and Shop, let's say. But he couldn't stop doing drugs in the office, so they had to fire him. And he begged them, and they allowed him to stay on as the shopping cart guy who put the shopping carts back. But he couldn't even do that well. Like, the disabled guys were running circles around him because they do that job much better than a person with a, you know, quote, more capable mind.
Yeah.
So the president just, they're like, dude, we're trying, but you just can't get it together.
I don't know. That's what would you suggest?
I would suggest that the government should allocate a little bit of money. I mean, we spend so much money fighting stupid wars and shit that we don't even need to be involved in some of the time, you know, not all of them, but sorry if that's a hot take, but I think people would typically agree with me in some capacity there. Allocate a little bit of the defense budget to making sure the president is good and be like, dude, listen, like, you got to get it together. They send, pick a spot where you want to buy a sick house. We'll take care of you and you can go be there. And if you got to go out, like, we'll make sure you stay out of trouble.
Yeah.
And the president will be like, right. And they'll be like, otherwise, you know, they make some sort of conditional deal with him where they give him money. The president may stay salaried for the rest of his life. I know that traditionally the president's salary is modest.
I think it's top of my head, I think it's 250K.
The president should maybe be getting more money, dude. But I'm sure that there's like all these workarounds for that.
I bet when he walks into your business, you're not accepting $1.
Well, but you probably also have some sort of like federal spending grant while you're president. So you don't actually have to spend any money at all, ever.
Yeah.
One thing I will give Trump, bro, it was super baller the way he like refused to live in the White House. He's like, dude, this place is a dump. That's pretty fucking funny.
He was entertaining.
He at the very least was entertaining. I still think the greatest viral video of all time is him just being like, I'm going to come. Dude, I want to know what he was saying before that. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say it's coming next year.
I know.
It's going to be a really, really jam-packed year.
I know. Maybe I'll watch CNN again. It's amazing the way that like news channels thrive during crisis or scary shit. Like, I haven't watched the news since COVID.
Yeah.
I have no idea what's going on.
Same.
But, dude, you know what? I have a fun idea, actually. You know how we now are like big into drone strikes in other countries? Mm-hmm. I think what we should do is use those drones to attack call centers that are scamming old people.
That's a good idea.
Because, dude, I've seen YouTube videos of people pinpointing the exact location of where these people are and somehow like hacking into their computers where they can hear these guys having conversations. They're like, oh, when I make money, I'm going to buy this. I'm going to get a girlfriend. And they don't even give a fuck that they're like scamming these nice people.
Yeah.
I think that we should use our Stinger missile, drone, whatever, to attack scam call centers in other countries.
How do they not get in trouble?
I don't know.
I don't understand how scammers...
I think they do.
But no, who enforces it?
The governments of those countries are, I think, supposed to theoretically enforce it. And for whatever reason, they're not. Or maybe when they catch them, they move or whatever. They're trying.
Do you think those countries make so much money off of that?
But I don't think the countries are doing it. It's these private ne'er-do-wells.
Yeah, I know that, but do you think that for some of these countries they're making so much money that it like helps the economy, and so like they don't want to like crack down on that because
I don't
of
think
XYZ reason? I'm not too knowledgeable on most of that stuff, but
so you might
I don't get it.
I don't know specifically, but I will say this: if conventional wisdom tells me, chances are if there's a country that's doing poorly, they are probably getting aid from the US and from the West.
Okay.
And that is much more significant than whatever money these scammers are bringing in.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's in any nation's best interest to allow that to be happening.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Because it's not like cyber attacks on government facilities. It's scamming old people, and it's fucked up, dude.
Yeah.
And I want to fuck those people up.
Yeah.
So I would have no problem with them drone striking those people.
There's a YouTuber I got to put you on that changes his voice and he accepts the phone call scam and he wastes their time.
I think it's the same guy, maybe.
We might be talking about the same guy.
Yeah. But keep going. Sorry.
But yeah, I watch these like hour-long videos. I listen to them while I'm doing just like chores around the apartment.
Same.
And he changes his voice and they're like, you got to get the Google Play cards and all that stuff. And he fucks with them. And then he wipes their hard drives because he's a hacker too.
It's amazing.
So that's
It's revenge porn,
yeah.
dude.
Dude, that would be a sick movie. Like somebody, they're a hacker and they get in trouble for hacking. And instead of going to jail, they're like, no, we're going to take down these scam centers overseas.
That's sick.
That would be sick.
Dude, I need to watch those. I love revenge porn, dude.
Hell yeah.
Speaking of revenge porn, I remember, have I talked about this in the pod before? My friend, I'm not going to say his name because I don't want to embarrass him. He would send
revenge porn and
there
your
was
specific friend.
Yeah, there was this site. It was called Vengified, and it would be dudes getting revenge on people by like having sex with somebody. So if the stories were to have been slightly better, it would have been more believable. But like typically, they just were not believable at all. But it was still kind of funny.
These were fake?
Yeah, I think they must have been, because this guy's like, you know what, man, this guy Tommy, he's a real asshole, dude. He keeps walking around talking shit, thinking he's the man. You know what? I'm gonna fuck his mom, dude.
That sounds like Bully Beatdown, like an MTV type show.
It just didn't seem like a compelling enough reason to be doing that to someone's mom. No. But dude, like then the guy comes home or whatever, and his friend is naked receiving oral sex from an unknown person, and he goes, "Oh man, blowjob, nice, dude."
Oh god. Just swipe the camera away from me on that. That was too good.
Use it. No, he goes, "Oh man, nice, a blowjob. Who is that?" And then he grabs the head of the woman and pivots it toward the camera. He goes, "It's your fucking mom, motherfucker."
Oh.
And then he escapes out the window naked. Runs out of, dude, unbelievable. I'll never forget it.
I need to see that video.
I hope I definitely don't have it anymore, and I've looked and I couldn't find it. There's a couple of porns that really made a mark on me. That was one of them, and the other one was the famous pterodactyl porn.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen that?
Yeah. It's
like 3 guys dressed up like pterodactyls. They're actually using their wings too, which is silly because they'd be flying away, Ryan. If they were using their rings, Ryan, they'd be flying away. So they're and they have human penises, and somebody's on the ground playing with both of them. And they do a close-up of her as she plays with the various penises. And in the background, there's a little robot or puppet pterodactyl going. And I'm like, whoever curated this has an amazing sense of humor.
Oh yeah.
This is hilarious.
There isn't creativity like that today.
There isn't.
Like it was harder to get porn online 10, 15 years ago. Like you had to have access and resources. So to be able to do something creative. Do you ever see Pizza Time?
No.
Oh, this is
that
so
the pizza
off-brand.
guy?
No, this is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Porn?
Yeah, it's porn.
No, oh my
They're
God.
all, this is so raunchy, guys. Sorry if you have kids in the car.
Well, you can say it a little more. You can say it delicately.
Okay, let's say that they're glazing a pizza together.
A real pizza?
They're dressing a pizza.
There's
in a
no
circle.
women involved.
No.
It's just a bunch of guys.
Big green fake.
Oh, interesting.
Turtle.
It's the
turtle penises.
Futanai penis. Peni.
Yeah.
What's the plural for penis? Peni penises.
The plural for penis.
Plural for penis.
Oh,
so they're just okay. Well, that's
and then they dress a pizza, and then after the end they scream "Pizza time." Penises.
Penises.
But I think penis. I like penis sounds better.
Penises. Penis. Penis,
Oh,
penis,
God.
penis, penis, penis. Okay, get it out of your system, everybody.
Yeah.
I remember when they showed us the anatomy thing when we were kids, like in 5th grade, Mr. Capetta's class. They bring in this diagram of penises and vaginas and the anatomy or whatever. And he let us laugh for like 5 minutes.
He's a good man.
And we all sat there and laughed, and then we'd all gotten it out of our system. But Ryan, I had not fully gotten it out of my system. I had a lot of laughs left and I couldn't help it. And he actually got mad at me at that point, I believe, because I couldn't stop laughing at the picture of the vagina and the penis. It was just so funny to me. And it's still funny to me now.
Yeah, dude. I'd love to hear, we don't have time today, but I'd love to hear some stories of if you got disciplined in school.
Me?
Yeah, if you've ever gotten in trouble.
Dude, in 4th grade, me and Nate Bergen, we would sit across the room and I'd have my head down on a book, which I'm surprised we were allowed to do that in class. I'd have my head down on a book and we would slowly look up at each other. And once we made eye contact, we would just die of laughter and go back down. And Hillary always accuses me of being a bad boy. She's like, you were a bad boy in school. I was terrible. I hated school. I was so ADD. I just couldn't. And I refused to take ADD medicine because I was so fucking defiant. I was like, I don't need medicine. I really did. I was miserable. And I was pretty bad. And I would get in trouble for talking in class.
Damn.
But I think the teachers liked me. They wanted to like me. But
They're rooting for you.
I was a little too disruptive. I was charming to a degree, but I was a bad boy, dude.
Oh.
I was a bad boy. I'm sure I have others that'll come. Oh, yeah, I've told a couple of these. I sprayed Pam all over the floor in Nature's classroom, not realizing you weren't supposed to do that. I almost got kicked out. And I arrived late too because I was sick. So I missed the Underground Railroad thing, which everybody talks about and says is like super fucked up. They did like an Underground Railroad role play.
Wait, what's Nature's Playground?
Nature's Classroom was like some retreat they made you go on in the woods, and there was like parent chaperones, and you got assigned to different areas. And I had asthma, so I was like, I need to be in a nicer place. I didn't want to sleep in a cabin, so they actually put me in a nice spot. But then I proceeded to vandalize it with cooking supplies.
Just the floor of the cabin?
Yeah, and we were sliding along. I think me and Dan Hunter, was one of the guys involved. A couple other people, I forget specifically, but dude, yeah, what a time.
Yeah.
Well, dude, that's Oops the Podcast, Ryan. Always good hanging out with you.
You too,
always
bro.
A pleasure. You guys have been great. It's been so fun as the pod enters its new chapter. Obviously no ill will to anybody who we were involved with before. They're still our friends. We still talk to them. People have been asking. They're like, are you and Francis not cool? No, Francis and I are cool, obviously, if that wasn't obvious. And you can catch me on the road. I'm going to be at hereafter at the Crocodile in Seattle, 10/14. Then the 25th and 26th, I'm in Oklahoma City and Tulsa. I forget specifically which comedy clubs, but you can see it at notjulio.com. Then early November, I am in Liberty Township, Ohio, near Cincinnati, I believe, followed by Louisville, Kentucky, the 1st and the 2nd. 10th and 11th, St. Pete, Florida. 17th and 18th, West Jordan, Utah. I'm adding more dates, and I'm planning to shoot a special. So I'm looking forward to doing all of that, and I hope it all works out. That is it for me for now. We'll go watch places you can go. Afghanistan, if you haven't. Ryan, you got anything for us?
No, Ryan is really polite. Check my story for any updates, and send us emails at oopsthepodcast@gmail.com. Love you guys.